Good morning. It's a great pleasure to welcome you today at this important conference. My intention is to underline the significance of energy to our future and how, working together and learning from each other's experiences, we can meet and address the challenges this sector presents us today, particularly as far as financing is concerned. As we know, there is a challenge for every nation represented in this room. It's a global challenge which none of us can resolve alone. A high technology, smart, low carbon energy infrastructure is essential to keep the lights on, promote growth and fight climate change. But it all has to be funded from somewhere. And there are many complexities involved. How do we tackle climate change and emissions reductions in ways that will promote green growth and successful economies without imposing impossible costs on consumers? How to help our industries and businesses to maintain their competitiveness in an increasingly fierce global marketplace, while providing the regulatory and cost certainty necessary for energy investors to make long-term decisions in the sector. How do we deal with the fact that much of the EU is competing for the same pool of investment? Answering these questions involves cooperation, sharing experience and best practice, and working together within the EU and other international fora. Whether it's supporting the cutting-edge technologies that will drive the economies of the future, or improving efficiency in transmission grids and reducing domestic and industrial inefficiencies, whether it's the pressing need to reduce our dependency on single types of fossil fuels and ensure diversity of our supply. These are all common issues. I remember the first time I came to Warsaw as a young diplomat in 1982. I saw then the effect of inefficient market systems led by a centralised system, attempting economic control but failing to respond to market forces well beyond its means. Huge progress has been made since then, as I have seen in both Poland and Romania, but the energy challenge remains centre stage. Energy security mattered then and matters now. Much of the world's energy resources are located in countries that suffer from political or climatic turbulence. Supply routes are vulnerable to conflict, terrorism, or natural disasters, so our energy mixes need to take this into account. The push for economic growth and convergence seen in this region and across the European Union is being matched globally. World energy consumption is expected to double in the first 50 years of this century, fueled by the explosive growth of the emerging economies. The geopolitics of energy are ever shifting too. The rise of the emerging powers has seen China embarking on the world's most significant increase in new civil nuclear power stations, to a potential 400 gigawatts by 2050. But it has also seen it overtaking America to become the world's leading investor in clean technologies. And who could have predicted a decade ago that the US would see shale gas lowering energy costs to the point where parts of the chemical industry, previously mothballed due to uncompetitiveness, would spring back to life, with real implications for both future US growth and for America's trading partners. If the US decides to export significant amounts of shale gas in the future, that too will have an impact on the energy supply price balance, although such exports will clearly be at much closer to world prices. Infrastructure is a key theme here. It is worth remembering that the US is considering the export of LNG from terminals previously designed as import hubs. Speaking of emerging market economies, we in the UK recognise the tremendous potential of Central Europe. That is why we call it emerging Europe. We believe that the UK can make an important contribution to the energy development of this region, not least because in the UK we face many of the same challenges. Let me say now a little bit about what we are doing to address these challenges. We've embarked on the most ambitious electricity market reform since the days of Margaret Thatcher. We need to do this because, like others in this room, the UK needs massive investment at double the current rate, a total of around £110 billion between now and 2020. That's a huge expansion in new low-carbon electricity generation and grid infrastructure, representing around 50% of the UK's infrastructure investment, or the equivalent of 7 major projects like London's Crossrail or the Olympics. To ensure the right low-carbon energy mix, we're investing heavily in renewables, including wind. We are planning a new generation of nuclear power stations. We have a competition on commercial scale carbon capture and storage. And there is interest in shale gas in the UK too. Although in any country there is a role for government in the energy sector, the UK's reforms are explicitly intended to move towards a market-based price discovery model, which is where we want to get to in order to encourage investors to back our energy future. Phase 1 of our plan will see the UK introducing a mechanism that will offer reliable contracts delivered in a way that is trusted by investors. That mechanism is the feed-in tariff with contracts for difference. Prices will be set administratively, aiming to bring all technology groups down in cost and begin to level the playing field. The theory will be familiar to many of you. The generator sells its electricity in the market and is paid a variable premium to top up if necessary. And if the market price is higher than the strike price, the generator pays back the difference. It's this certainty which we hope will reassure global fund managers about investment decision-making. Contracts for difference can help smooth out market volatility, not only minimising costs to the consumer, but also making investment and financing decisions easier. And because energy still needs to be sold in the market, there are still powerful incentives to encourage operational efficiencies. This gives investors the predicted revenue streams needed to invest in big projects and with lower cost of capital. And all of this in a contract. This work is a long-term effort to benefit all low-carbon technologies, but also to support our new nuclear build. I know that some countries in the region are interested in learning from this model, and we are committed to sharing with you how it works. Phase 2 will see the first technology-specific auctions where prices will be set competitively by the market, and, for example, onshore wind generators will start to compete with other onshore wind generators as early as 2017. In Phase 3, we will move to technology-neutral auctions. So in the 2020s, low-carbon technologies should start to compete with each other in a true low-carbon electricity market. Finally, when all technologies are mature enough, and if the carbon price is high enough and sustainable, all generators could compete without any intervention. But this is only part of the picture. We are introducing a capacity market, providing an insurance policy against the possibility of future blackouts by providing financial incentives to ensure that we have enough reliable electricity capacity to meet demand. We've invested £500 million in a low-carbon network fund designed to support distribution networks to reduce demand by improving efficiency with innovative technologies. And it's why we've invested in a new Green Deal to help drive energy efficiency in homes around the country. We are also working to improve our regulatory environment to facilitate exploration of our vast potential unconventional gas reserves. There is definitely scope for countries with shale gas potential to collaborate to ensure that we can extract shale gas in a commercially viable way while protecting the environment. In closing, I want to highlight that no country has all the answers. Getting the climate right for investors is not easy, as we know very well in the UK. But we are convinced that a market-based model combined with a liberalised EU energy market is the best way to secure the necessary investment and maintain affordable energy prices. We are keen to work with you to meet this challenge, to share our policy and regulatory experience, as well as our commercial and infrastructure management expertise and the city's unique investment strengths. So that's why our embassies in what we call emerging Europe are working as one team on energy issues and are working more closely than ever with you, both on the low carbon agenda that is so important for the future of our planet and on meeting the challenge of funding and building an energy infrastructure fit for the 21st century. Thank you very much indeed.